Okay, in this video, I want to share with you how to protect yourself from getting excited about a product when it might not really be a good product for you because it could be very, very competitive and the shop that is selling it could be very, very seasoned, and we want to be careful of that. So let me show you how to identify this and really how to do some research. So this way here, you cover all your bases. So let's go ahead and take a look at the results for Halloween sweatshirt for teacher. So the first thing I'm doing, as always, is I'm sorting this by total sales. That gives me the most to the least, all right? And this is for 70 listings, all right? So the first thing that I'm doing is looking at this right here, right? The total sales. Now, that looks great. The listing age is 21 months, not that old. Great. It's got 3,356 reviews. That's awesome. And 827 monthly sales right now. Well, let's go ahead and see something. This shop is 126 months. Let's see. Let's do some math. 60 months, 5 years times 2, it's 10 years old. Okay. So with that being said, we don't necessarily want to look at this particular product and go, oh, I can create one that's just like it. Yes, it's got a lot of great demand. It does. And it's only 21 months old, but we need to make sure that we're not going up against a shop that has a lot of history within Etsy. All right. So that's something that we want to look at, not just the listing itself, because even though it might look on the surface as the listing is not that old, it's a little over or a little under 2 years old, but the shop has a lot to do with how that product is doing in the search results as well, because Etsy wants to also promote shops that have been around for a while. So we want to make sure that we look at that. Let's look at another example. So this one right here, this looks like a nice little sweatshirt that's doing pretty well, 159 monthly sales. It's doing $2,544 per month in revenue and 1,760 total sales in 11 months. That's really good. That's a year old, and it's done 1,760 total sales. That is really good. And if that's all I looked at, I'd be like, yes, this is going to be a great type of product for us to sell. Well, if I go over here, if this here was like 5 years old, I'd be thinking a little bit differently. Now, this is under 2 years old. So that there would check the box and say, you know what? That shop isn't that old. And my rule is usually 5 years or less. Obviously, if the site is younger, that's better. But in this case, that's still pretty good. If I was to go up against a shop that was 10 years old and one that was just under 2 years old, I probably would stand a better chance going up against the one that was not as old, right? Let's go ahead and look at another example. Here's this one right here. Well, 78 monthly sales, 1,750 total sales, and it's about 2 years old. It is 2 years old. It's 24 months. Let's go over here. Well, it's 36 months old. So that one there is just about 3 years old. Still, it's not as bad as this one. So if I was to decide if these were all products the same, which they're not, but if they were, I would lean towards these two versus this one right here because I know that I'm going to be able to compete with these guys more so than this one. Now, one thing we can do to speed up this process, if you don't want to see shops that are older than 24 months, let's say, all we need to do is use the filters. So I'm just going to make sure that we go right here to filters, and I am going to say that the max shop age that I want to see is 24 months. And you're going to immediately see all of these now are going to be 24 months or less. And then what I get to do is I get to sort it once again by sales. I'm going to do that once again. And this one here came up because it's 11 months old for the listing. And then the age of the shop is 20 months old. So you see how we just did that very, very quickly. We just went into the filters. We made it so it's only going to show shops that are 24 months or less. I could go ahead and say, let's do 36 months. That's all I want to see. And then you're going to see that. Okay. Or I can say, you know what? I only want to see shops that were 12 months. Okay. There you go. So these are all fairly new shops. All right. And if we go here now, we can see this one here is doing very well in 2 months, right? The listing age. And then I'm looking over here, the shop age is only 5 months. So it's doing really, really well. Now, some of these other ones, not so well. This one here, not bad, right? Total sales. And this one here is 4 months old. This one here is doing pretty good. So 9 months old. And then listing age is a month old. And total sales is 126. So for only being a month old and doing 126 sales, that's pretty good. So do you see how we can look at the shop age, and then we can say, okay, that's what's going to be competitive if I go over maybe 2 years or 3 years. I want to go after younger shops, the ones that are proving that you can actually get a listing to rank and get sales without having to have a shop that is very, very mature, like that 10-year one that I showed you in the beginning. So that's how you can weed out the shops that are very seasoned to the ones that are fairly new that you know you can compete with. So hopefully this video helped you. I'll see you in the next.